So this video is a precursor to the dilemma of the king, prisoner, and a victim, because the concept in that one, I think it's good for me to give you guys a bit of a precursor and a kind of like prime your mind and awareness before you get into that. Yeah, so that's the rationale anyway. So we know that you are the emergent point of consciousness, yeah? Undeniable facts, okay? You are interacting with a mirror, a CPU AI overlay thing, yeah? Which is your reality. But you're simultaneously experiencing it through the black hole, which is also an emergent point in your eye. Check out my All is Mind video, I explain this. So basically, you, the emergent point, you are reflecting onto the mirror, yeah? Which means everything you see is coming from you. It can't come from anywhere else, yeah? Let me actually give you a refresher. Hold on. Do you remember this? The emergent point is you, yeah? Sound and light, yeah? Vibrational being, that's who you are. Do you remember? Yeah? Experiencing light and sound, and you are projecting it out. It's nothing and all things simultaneously, but it's coming from you, okay? Do you remember? Good. Another one, yeah? Emergent point, the limits of your configuration, yeah? Light and sound, yeah? Oh, and lastly, you are in a pod. The inputs you have are sound and light, yeah? Which you perceive as color. Sound is on all the time. Light is on all the time. We explained this, and you perceive this in your pod, yeah? There's another pod which is sensations, but the reverse side of it is stillness. Do you remember this? Because all there is color and sound, and you cut out the shapes, yeah? But it's all coming from you. The opposite side is this, because you're a pulse between both, yeah? And your world is dictated by your caregivers using their pointers to basically cut the shapes out in this for you to perceive as people or whatever, yeah? But essentially you create, one second. But essentially you use the inputs of light and sound to create the reality. Even though it looks like it's outside, you create it internally, yeah? Plato's Cave 101, yeah? Now you are born and you go into the world of light and sound, yeah? Do you remember this? Okay, good. Okay, so we're back. So now you look at the keyhole that I told you. The keyhole is your unique perspective, your unique configuration, or your matrix pod, if you like, yeah? It's populated by light and sound because that's what you are, yeah? And that's how you create your world. It's part of you, but at the same time, it's also, it feels like it's external because you cut a shape within these things to make you, because you are a vibrational being and these are vibrations too, yeah? Okay, so this being the keyhole, God, which is all things, all consciousness, all everything, fits itself into this tiny keyhole, yeah? Because this keyhole is a unique perspective, yeah? You are the character, and each unique perspective or configuration comes with a story, a character, characteristics, challenges, settings, handicap, and trauma. Trauma exists for everybody, bro. You can't escape it. You cannot escape trauma because trauma is, think of it this way. You have this massive light trying to shove itself into a tiny perspective. There will be a cost, yeah? And that cost is pain in the world of physicality, what we perceive as trauma, because it's a dream. You have to go into it and there's a pinch, yeah? It's not really kind of tangible, but it's a pinch which you feel in the physical realm as pain, okay? Trauma can't be escaped, okay? Go to the highest levels of society, go to the dregs of society. They all have trauma. It just manifests in different ways, okay? Cool. Now, most people live with this idea that they are one perspective and there's another perspective. This is another person, yeah? And this light of consciousness shines through this perspective and beams out onto this mirror, yeah? This is a shared reality, okay? So it appears to us that there's another perspective, which is another person, yeah? but that person doesn't truly exist. Neither do you, because ultimately what's happening is having an experience here. Okay, so when you were born and you come into this life and you experience reflections and they're mean to you and they spew their venom on top of you and shit like that, your trauma, all this stuff, yeah? They are your reflections. Okay? They are your reflections. They can't be anything else. They are your reflections. Yeah, they are an aspect of you. You might not even be aware that it's an aspect of you because it's within your configuration. This keyhole comes with a story, character, script, and all the rest of it, yeah? Let me break something down to you, because sometimes people miss this. People tend to think that, okay, well, I was young, I didn't really have a choice in the matter, this happened to me, that happened to me. What you have to understand is consciousness, God, this pure, this light, this energy, yeah, which we understand in this dimension as light, right? This powerful energy, this vibrational energy, consciousness of all things, everywhere, all the time at once, yeah? We tend to think, well, I was innocent, I didn't, but that thing that's all things includes all things. Let me say that one more time, just in case you missed it. That thing which is all things is all things. That's why I explained to you previously in the cycles and the pulse videos, you're a pulse, you're a cycle. You go between the zeros and the one, dark and light, yeah? Black and white, light and shadow, yeah? And you remember the video I showed you on, let me actually show you now, hold on. Do you remember this? Life is just life, right? But life has a other side, which is death. Life can't experience death without separation. Otherwise, it's just life, okay? Physicality is what makes death possible. Otherwise, there's only life, okay? Light is always light. It doesn't change its form. Light can only show darkness or become dark or have a shadow aspect due to physicality. Yeah? So due to when physicality comes into the mix, we see the counter side of this energy. Sound. Once again, sound is always on. The sound around us 24/7. From the moment life began to the moment life ends, sound will always be here. Even when you can't perceive it, it's there. You can only perceive what we call silence due to physicality. Okay? Alright, cool. Don't let it go over your heads. People tend to think that, oh, well, I didn't deserve it, blah, 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 blah. But you gotta realize that all things is all things. So light is always light, but it has a shadow side as part of it, because otherwise it wouldn't be light. Okay? Sound travels with silence as part and parcel of it. Otherwise it wouldn't be sound, yeah? And life travels with death. These are the components that make you vibrationally, okay? Yeah? So without physicality, you can't experience the other side of it. So even though you were born and you're innocent and blah, 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 and you're experiencing this, due to physicality, it makes your opposite side possible. Do you get it? Without this, these things wouldn't exist. But most people live in a world of separation because their minds are quite simple, and they tend to think that, oh, I'm in my pod, there must be somebody else in their pod, and they're projecting out, and they've done this to me. That's separation. You can clearly see it here. This is merely an idea. This is the truth. This is an idea. Yeah? So these reflections, although they appear to you as other people, yes, because you're in the world of physicality, at the base of it, they don't exist, neither do you. It's this, having an experience here. Yeah? And this is a CPU, mirror, AI counterpart, reality overlay. It can't be argued with, bro. We can't reduce this any further. Now, these reflections or other people are at the core same energy, i.e. God, just a different perspective. Yeah? So this thing, God, is beaming through you to experience life as you. But because it's come through you, it's the light shining through this perspective onto this mirror, This thing is shining all around you at the same time. It's part of you. That's what translates in the 3D as this, because it's one and the same. It's the macro of the macro. It's the micro of the macro. Yeah? Because even though it's one unique perspective, this perspective not being present makes it possible for all the other perspectives to present themselves onto the mirror, but it's still the one thing reflecting on the mirror simultaneously. Yeah? Okay, good. They don't truly exist, just like you don't truly exist. They're characters in a game. So like in the video game lobby, all the characters hanging out, that's what they are. Yeah? So let me try and break this down a little bit clearer. So in the video game lobby, you have all the different characters, right? Nobody exists more than the other. They don't exist. They they don't actually exist. I exist. I'm the player. I exist, right? And me playing one character brings all the other characters to life. Do you understand? Just by virtue of me choosing to play the game as Ryu or Ken or whoever, yeah, makes it possible for all the other characters to come to life, because once I enter the video game as my unique character, unique perspective, unique configuration, I tell the CPU to challenge me, settings, handicaps, whatever, and all the other characters then come to life because they are the ones I will be interacting with in the game, even though technically I am interacting with myself because I've told the mirror to reflect such and such back to me. But people, simple-minded humans, will think that, oh, God is you and God is him and God is her and da 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 da. Yes, in a macro way, yes, it's true. But you are not God by yourself. We are one unified consciousness. Yeah? So when the experience is over for you, the human experience is over, period. You can't, what are you going to, what? How can you verify that it carries on? How? You can't, bro. Just because you think, okay, so there's history books and that doesn't mean anything, really. It's no different from me telling you that all the characters in Mortal Kombat, there's a backstory and this guy lived in ancient Japan, but they're stories. So do you get it? The micro fractalized version of God consciousness, once it's animated, once your unique perspective is lit by the light of God, the light of consciousness, all the other perspectives from naught to infinity all switch on at the same time. Otherwise, the mirror is not going to work. The reality is not going to work. The game can't be played. I hope it's clear. Okay, let's delve a little bit deeper. So, with that understanding, you realize that they're just characters in the game, and what they present or do to you is part of you, because you are all things. If you live in a world of separation and you think you're just this little being, you think somebody's doing something to you. If you have higher awareness, you realize that this is one reflection and this is also part of me. Yeah? Okay. Now, basically, what they present to you or do to you is part of you, and you must overcome what's being done to you. Yeah? That's the aim of the game. And what you must overcome is your animal nature, because this unique perspective is animalistic in nature. Now, what does that mean? So your animal nature is using rationale and logic and not using blind faith because it'll cost you. So using your rational logical lens as opposed to using your emotional and narrow view lens, which is separation, instinct, animalistic. Cool. Now, let's look at some examples of when this has happened. The serpent in the garden with Eve, when she basically, because she was obsessed with herself, narcissism, she thought that she could be God. Yeah, it's no different from Lucifer. Yeah, animalistic, lost her birthright. So basically failure. Adam followed his dick by listening to her, failure. Isaac's blind faith in his human senses or animal senses, failure. Esau's hunger, yeah, because hunger is in the flesh. You can, you know, we are not just flesh based. You can transcend and overcome these things. Failure. The Israelites' fear, yeah, because fear is not real. That means you're living in separation, leading to idolatry. Failure. King Saul's impatience. Failure. Impatience is animalistic. Samson following his dick. Failure. Peter not being able to walk on water. Failure. Ananias and Sapphira, their deceit is animalistic. Failure. Look at what do you call them? Animals don't share. They don't share very well, especially when they're in their primal modes. They don't share. Even your own pets, when they're eating and you approach them, sometimes they growl at you, right? Yeah, animalistic. That's what we're here to overcome. So when these things happen to you, right? Most people, because rather than realizing what's happening and putting their rational lenses on, they put their emotional lenses on, separation, and they go into this mode. Anger. Yeah? And when that happens, the birth of the ego happens. The ego is this, your shadow aspect. Yeah? Jean-Paul Sartre said something. Hell is other people. Yeah? He didn't mean it in a metaphysical sense, but everything ties together. Let me expand on this. Hell is other people in this sense because if you don't live in separation, you will never go to hell. You will never experience hell. Hell will never exist for you. It's a fact. You can try and argue with it if you want, but you fail. I'm just letting you know. It comes a choice. You can take the blue pill, which is a failure of the mission. And it's really strange because taking the blue pill is attachment, yeah? You think you're this, and the more you attach to this, you fail this mission, which will mean that God or consciousness will just pick another perspective and experience itself on the mirror because it's God's game. It wants to transcend the aspect of itself due to physicality. Yeah, like I said to you before, life, light, and sound can only experience their shadow aspects due to physicality. So if you don't get out of the way, you get discarded. Trust me on this one, bro. You're not that special. And the strange way it works is the less you attach to this, the more likely you are to keep this for longer and experience so much more with this. Because this is in control, not this. Now, you take a blue pill, you fail the mission, you believe the reflections were real, yeah, they're real people and they hurt you, and you believe that you are perfect, yeah, even though you're in an animalistic fallen state, which is so dumb, and you didn't deserve for this to happen to you. Okay, bro, whatever. And you live in physicality. You're a narcissist. You are attached to your reflection and these reflections. Suffering is your portion, bro. You will suffer eternally. Not eternally, until you die, actually. And you seek revenge. You're angry. What is that? You're viewing life through the emotional lens. Instinct. What is that? Animalistic. Or you can take the red pill and recognize that the obstacles, the things you experienced, are for you and your spiritual growth. Yeah? So you are integrating your shadow, realizing that you are light. You're integrating the silence, realizing that you are sound. You're integrating death, realizing that you are life itself. Yeah? Remember, the configuration comes with a story. And you come to the profound realization that there is no spoon. Yeah? And the prison can be changed to freedom. Endure and ascend. The end.